Welcome to the Shootin the Que Podcast, the podcast that's harder than your competition cooker and your first wife. We'll be talking barbecue and more with one of the top pitmasters in the game. Get ready for juicy tips, saucy tricks, and sizzling stories that'll leave you hungry for more. Let's start shooting the Que. Here's your host, Heath Riles.
How's it going, everybody? Today is the official day we're starting a podcast, honey. Can you believe it?
I cannot.
Well, first off, this is my lovely wife, Candace Riles. For anyone that does not know her, this is my better half, the one that pushes me. And, what are you looking at me like that for?
I was waiting to see what you're going to say next.
Oh, you just push me to do better for myself, that's all. You are. You're a good woman. I wouldn't be where I am today without you, honey.
I didn't even have to pay you to say that today.
You did not. You
Didn't have to shower you with gifts or anything.
No, but I am going to go home, put my feet up, and drink a cold beer this evening. That work?
As long as you cook dinner.
I'm always going to cook dinner. Look, we have had a ton of questions, about people wanting to know kind of what we do and how we do it. And
I'm still wondering what you do.
Oh, really?
What do you do?
Every day now? I mean, I'm like Ricky Bobby right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands.
I can see that.
I know that this podcast we're going to talk about food. We're going to have fun. We might have a cocktail or two. Maybe some travel. We're going to have on some guests sometimes, or a lot of the times.
Who would be just the one guest out of everybody you hope one day you can have on here?
Theo Vaughn.
Just out of anybody.
No, not out of anybody. I mean, I'd probably get Jeff Benzos down here if I could get anybody. Honestly, no. No, I'm going to have to rephrase that. I'm going to think I'd probably go with Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson, at this point. Him or either Joe Rogan would probably be my top two. It'd probably be back and forth just because I have so much respect for the Joe Rogan experience, of course. But now, barbecue people, that changes the demeanor if you said barbecue people.
Well, just in general, I was asking. But sure, barbecue people.
I mean, barbecue people, I would love to get Pat Burke on, just to have Mr. Pat on, just because I've looked up to him for so long, and what he's done for barbecue and everything. I would love to get on and just talk shop with him about the old days and try to learn more than I don't know about. I mean,
I'm sure he'd do that.
The wealth of knowledge.
I wonder if he's been on a podcast before.
I don't know. Maybe if he's going to get down toward Memphis in May, maybe we can get him in.
I'm sure he would do that.
I know we've got some good up-and-coming guests on some episodes coming up. I know it should be an interesting show. I know one of our first guests is Mitchell, and our good friend Mitchell Bedwell out in Georgia, and everybody knows Mitchell. I think he's secured his spot. He kind of become the barbecue liaison between a lot of teams and a lot of people, and I can remember meeting him years ago with Tommy Houston and been friends with him ever since.
I guess we did meet him through Tommy.
We did.
In Galax, Virginia.
Galax, Virginia.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I've got to ask you, being on here with me right now, we've been together about 15 years now. Did you ever think when you started dating me years ago that me just cooking a little barbecue was going to turn into all this that it has today?
No. Definitely not. You were the beer guy.
The beer guy. What do you mean by that?
Everybody knew you as the beer guy. I don't know.
I was.
You were over Bill Street. When I met you, you already worked for Miller and Coors, basically. But I think you worked for.
I was the bud man first.
You were I didn't know you then, but.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing. The bud man was a little wild back then. I mean, I had my days, but now I've calmed down and I'm more of a gentleman and have a cocktail and a cigar.
Cigar? Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Well, I'm going to leave it with cigar. I'm going to leave it with cigar.
Gotcha.
You know, got to have a little fun, you know. So let's talk about some food. To you, what's one of the best recipes that I've cooked for you since either we've been together or barbecue wise? I got to ask that. I've never asked you that, to be honest with you.
And you're going to hate my answer.
Really?
Yeah, probably, because it's one of the most simple things, and you're probably going to roll your eyes.
I bet I know.
What?
That fish?
No, but that was good.
Oh.
I was going to say the queso that I make you make all the time because I love cheese dip.
Well, nothing wrong with the queso. What about a main dish?
A main dish. I guess. I mean, are you talking about the fish with the we used to use that seasoning, not your seasoning, but
the Traeger seasoning.
The Traeger seasoning. What was that called?
Saskatchewan rub.
Yes, that
it had my seasoning on it too.
Yeah, you did add.
We use garlic, butter, and simple
citrus. That
is
a very good protein for sure. One of the things you made recently that I was really surprised, and I got it after the fact, was those stuffed bell peppers. You did like a chicken stuffed bell pepper. That was probably one of the best things that I've
and believe it or not,
that was my idea, by the way.
Do you know what recipe is actually that's about to drop this week? Next week coming up is that chicken recipe, that stuffed bell pepper recipe.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was a really good one. Surprisingly,
really,
I've never been a big fan of stuffed bell peppers, but that one surprised me.
Man, that was really good. I'm going to do some different versions of that. It was really good. What about favorite rib recipe?
You know, I'm kind of picky about ribs. There's been so many. I don't know. The cherry Dr. Pepper ribs were good.
Yeah, you did. You kind of come up with a good idea, though.
Yeah.
And I helped with that.
Probably that, I guess. I don't know.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
I'm not through the years, I've kind of lost my taste for ribs. I think that's against the law, but.
Well, I'm not going to say you
not really burn out, but it's not my favorite protein to eat.
You were a taste tester for a long time, and as many slabs as I've cooked, I can see that.
I'm more of some people will get mad about this, but my favorite is brisket, I guess, when you come to barbecue. But depending on which style, sanctioning body you're cooking for, brisket may not be really considered barbecue, I guess.
Yeah, some people don't. Yeah, some people don't consider brisket barbecue. They do consider it just beef. I mean, but a lot of everything that we cook in, they do consider it.
Speaking of like contests, this is a weird random question. What is like at a contest? You know how everybody, small, big, whatever size contest, people, I want you to try this. They're always bringing you stuff. Is there one through all the years that just stands out, whether it's rib, chicken, brisket, pork, whatever, hog, that just stands out that you remember trying and you're like, man, that was so good, that you just remember to this day?
Let me think now.
That was not yours.
That was not mine.
That was not yours. It could be anybody's. Any contest, any protein.
Wow, that is a great question.
I actually know my answer. I was just curious to see yours.
You know your answer?
You're going to be surprised at my answer, I think. Not surprised, but you'll just probably be surprised I remember it, I guess.
Honestly, does it count when you were judging?
Well, did you know whose it was for sure? Were you a finals judge or were you blind judging?
I was just a regular judge on site.
You were on site. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it counts.
And I'm going to say
the best thing ever.
I'm going to say one of the best bites of barbecue that I've ever had to come from Pat Burke out of a shoulder.
I judged him that same day. I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to say that taste, and he taught me a lot about a shoulder. And, we went to winning after that to a fact that it was, hugely due to how he was breaking down his shoulder. It had nothing to do with
I had never seen anybody break down a shoulder the way he did that, because I judged him that same day on site, but separately from you.
Pulled that pearl out of there like that.
And sliced it.
Yes, sliced it like a money muscle. It was a great, great thing, which is pretty cool. I would have to say that'd be the best bite there, but
I mean, that's a good answer.
I'm gonna let you answer, and I'm gonna keep thinking though of a besides a judge, just somebody handing me.
Well, I was not judging this contest, but as I said, one of my favorite things is brisket, and I'm really hard to impress because I feel like I always like your brisket, but I've tried a lot of brisket through the years, and I'm just kind of like, it's good, but it doesn't have that wow factor. But going back to something that you just mentioned was the first time that we met Mitchell in Galax, Virginia, because he was with Tommy Houston. I remember tasting Tommy's brisket that day and thinking, man, that is some good brisket. And I've never thought that about anybody else's brisket except for yours. But Tommy had a great brisket.
You know what? I remember that. And if I'm not mistaken, he was using, I asked him what seasoning he was using at the time. I think he always been a fan of Head Country seasoning on brisket.
I don't know what he used. I'm not promoting any special brand, but he cooked a dang good brisket that day.
Well, he won first place brisket.
It was good.
In Virginia that year.
I still remember it to this day, and that was probably, gosh, I don't know how long ago. We've been married 10 years, so however long ago it was.
And that was probably a good 9 years ago.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Every bit.
That's one that stands out to me. It was just really, really good.
I'm trying to think of what contest we were at, honestly. And somebody gave me a piece of chicken. And I do not remember where it was at.
You don't even remember who it was?
I don't even remember who it was, but I remember
that's no
the chicken.
good.
It was a chicken leg. I remember that, and it was very, very good. I don't remember who it was. I don't know. I've ate so many different types of barbecue from people at contests, turn-in boxes.
Another brisket that I had that was really good, it was a real close to Tommy's, but it didn't top Tommy's, but it was still very good, was Ben's.
You know what? I was going to say Ben Wilson a while ago with Q-Bones.
Yes, he has a very good brisket as well.
Does.
Very
He
good.
does.
It was a very close second to Tommy's.
And you want to know what? That's whose chicken it was.
Was it?
Now that you say that, it was Ben Wilson's.
I don't know that I've tried his chicken, but his brisket was very good the time I tried
Ben Wilson's. I remember. I think we were at a Sam's Club event, me and him.
We
were
at that
all
Sam's Club
somewhere.
event. I remember that event very well.
No, not that one.
Not the big disappointment.
Not the big disappointment. And for a lot of people that don't know, that big disappointment was I had a perfect 180 chicken score out of the gate, and I had a perfect 180 rib score out of the gate. And I had a 46 pork out of 50 teams. I hit a terrible table, and then I think I was like 12th in brisket, I believe.
don't remember exactly.
And it put me 5th overall, and it put me losing out an additional 50 grand, 52 grand, I think. I still won like 12,000 that day, but it was a sad day for me. I couldn't even drive that 3-hour drive home. I had to pull over and get a hotel and go to the bar. That was a rough one. But I think if we'd have been 39th in porks that day, we could have won that contest, but you never know how it's going to fall.
I feel like that happened to us another time, too. The contest wasn't as, big, but wasn't that at Randall's contest in Cumming, Georgia?
It was.
That happened, too, because I remember Tommy was sitting there with us.
And Donnie Bray.
And Donnie, and they were like, you've got this one. And it was the same thing.
We got 9th overall.
Yeah, we ended up.
It was about 78 or 80 teams there. We had a couple
was a
bad
good
tables,
contest.
though, and it was, we got mopped up at that, 180s there in 9th place. That was a melter. That was a bad one. But you know what? It taught me a lot of valuable lessons, though, and I tell anybody that first time that I went over to Georgia and got those 2 180s right out of the gate, then I ended up getting 9th. I tell everybody, if you want to learn how to cook, you got to go to Georgia.
Yeah.
And I told you that, and I devoted, really two years to going over to Georgia and cooking several contests throughout the year, KCBS and Memphis style contests, and it paid off. It did. I figured out that flavor profile, and I still use that flavor profile, a similar one.
Yeah. Similar,
today.
not exactly the
not
same.
exactly. I've changed my rubs up and made some new rubs, but I've masked those flavors in those rubs.
So you remember the specifics about the flavors of rubs you used and the meat you cooked and all of that. And I remember the specifics like, we went to this bar and we sat there all night and we drank all this beer with, you remember we were with Stacy that night at that contest, one of those contests. We drank all
Stacy Wilson.
It was around fall, like Halloween, Thanksgiving Eve.
We drank all
that pumpkin beer. We sat at that bar all night and
I remember that.
Like 2 a.m. So you remember the important things, I guess, and I remember the fun things.
And so for people that don't know Stacy Wilson, if you're ever around Georgia, you have to look up on the outskirts of Atlanta, and he is kind of south.
I haven't ever had the pleasure of going to his restaurant.
2 locations. But like you said, Foggy Bottom Barbecue. Really, really good.
Haven't seen Stacy in a long time.
I know. Makes me think of Dairy Queen down here.
I know the peanut, what is it? The peanut blaster or
peanut
buster blaster or something.
Blaster parfait, something. He always wanted one. He had to have it. For sure. Good guy. And talking about food and travel like that. And then, let's fast forward about the barbecue business here. Through all that, we've kind of built a barbecue business, and now we sell sauce and rub all over the world, and we're in a lot of stores across the U.S. and have a lot of teams that use our products, and that I'm very blessed and very proud of. And
what is your favorite product that you have made through the years?
That I have made through the years?
Yeah, out of all of your products, what would be your favorite one?
I'm going to have to say the garlic jalapeno rub is my favorite, even though I probably don't use it more than I do the simple citrus rub at home. I use the simple citrus rub like a salt and pepper for some reason on about everything. I do.
Yeah.
Or the garlic jalapeno. I do use a lot of it. It kind of depends. I've kind of especially gotten away from it, at some because I use the garlic butter and then a lot of people don't know that I'm working on some new flavor combinations. So I've got, 6 or 8 rubs always that I'm working on or doing recipes for other businesses and stuff like that we make and consult people on. And I don't know, there's a couple new ones that I've got maybe coming soon that I've been using a lot of that it may turn out to be my favorite. I'll say that. I can't just say it quite yet.
Do you have somebody else's product that is your favorite? Like, if you had to pick one other product that's not yours, like one other, anybody, somebody somebody you don't know, just some product in general that you've tried before, barbecue related, of course.
I'm going to be honest.
Could you even narrow it down to one?
Right now, I probably use more W sauce than anything.
That's true.
America's Worcestershire sauce.
It is good.
Baron Burton's W sauce.
I'm excited. So I got the email. I order their stuff. We sell their stuff on our website. They're coming out with a new breakfast sauce.
I've seen that.
I have not tried it. Don't know anything about it besides what I've read, but I've placed our order to get it, and I'm excited. I want to try it. The description sounds really good.
I know it does sound really good. Besides the W sauce, and if I had to use another rub, what would I say? I'm trying to think if I would. I use Malcolm's Grande Gringo a good bit. I do like it. The Mexican kind of inspired. What else?
I feel like compared to what's in our pantry, you have, of course, all of yours. I say ours, all of your seasonings. I haven't developed any recipes. I just
well, in my pantry, I'll tell anybody I've got my rub.
Well, so I'd say you have the most of your rub.
Mm-hmm.
Second most would be Malcolm's. Whether it's the Malcolm version or the Killer Hog.
Yeah.
We have a lot of his, and
I like his TX rub. I've used it.
I love his hot sauce.
And we use a lot of his hot sauce.
A lot.
I've got some of Matt Pittman's rubs.
I was going to say Meat Church would probably be the third, of what we have most in our. I mean, we have a large variety, but some people we might just have one of their rubs, whereas I
have had a clean out lately. I did just buy stale crackers rub finally.
Oh, I have not tried that.
And
I think I did see that at home, but I have not tried it.
Tested it on my finger. Really good Cajun style rub. Hadn't cooked with it yet. Plan on it coming up. But I'm bad about trying these little craft seasons and stuff that I find in hole in the walls. Really weird stuff like rosemary, sea salt, and
I love rosemary.
just things like that. Different little glazes and little honeys and stuff like that more than I am rubs these days. Yeah, definitely.
But I do feel like your answer was probably right in the beginning. You use a ton of W sauce.
I do use a ton of W sauce,
So
more than anything.
So, I mean, you made deviled eggs the other day, and you poured W sauce in the deviled eggs.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good.
So it is good. I'm not
Very
denying
good.
that. I actually need to try I have not tried the vegan version of that, and I would just like to try it just to see the difference, really.
I bet taking the fire shire and making a gravy out of it with my garlic jalapeno rub, I bet it would be really good on some chicken fried steak. What do you think there, Damon?
Chicken.
That would
fried
have
steak.
to be money. It would have to be. Have to be good. So, along from that, restaurants,
What kind of restaurants?
barbecue restaurants.
What about them?
What would you say would be your best barbecue restaurant outside of Texas?
Oh, dang.
Outside of Texas. We're going to draw a line around Texas.
What are we going to? Are we gonna say like what do I have to judge? Because like I'm gonna say one restaurant if I can say like, oh, I love their dessert, or I'm gonna say another restaurant if it's like
Name items from wherever you want to name them at.
Okay, so the pecan pie from Little Miss Barbecue is the most. I don't even like pecan pie. I make pecan pie for you, for my mother,
So
on all the holidays. Dessert, and their, don't get me wrong, their barbecue was amazing. It was. I'm not denying that at all. But their pecan pie was more than amazing.
Okay, if you're going dessert, I'm going to have to go dessert from Lily's Q in
That's a good
Florida.
The original.
The original Lily's Q, the Beachside Shack,
That Keto's at.
that keto runs, the banana pudding.
It
I'm
was
going to
very
have to
good.
go banana pudding.
Now, besides dessert, I would say Travis's restaurant would be outside of Texas. I would pick Travis's restaurant. That's my personal choice.
What was your favorite thing at Travis's restaurant?
If I remember correctly, it was the pork and the chicken were both very good, and the sausage was good. But outside of meat, my favorite thing was the fried dill pickle or fried pickles. I won't say dill because I don't necessarily know that they were dill, but they were amazing. They were very, very good. I mean, everything that we had that day, we've only gotten to go there once because we don't get to Oklahoma that often, but everything we had that day was great.
Yeah, it was.
But the pickles were
Real
stand out.
They were. And after he told me the process of their pickles, I know why. I understand it. I mean, because it's a long process to get a pickle in the end.
Yeah,
but it's,
I mean, outside of Texas, I would say Travis's restaurant is probably my pick.
I'm going to have to get a little off topic and say that he does pastrami so many times a year, and I would love to get
Travis
out there.
does?
Travis does with Wagyu briskets.
So I feel it's almost like I feel guilty because I've never been there. But so when we go to like the American Royal, we've always gotten to try like Darren's tenderloin sandwich that everybody, talks about, Iowa Smoky D's, but we've never actually gotten to go to his restaurant. So I feel guilty that we've had it at contest per se, but we've never actually gotten the restaurant experience. Because I feel like I'm sure it's amazing as well.
We need to go up, and to his place, and I don't know.
There's a ton of places I'm sure we need to go to everywhere. But
there is. There's still a couple of places in Memphis that I hadn't hit.
True. There's a new one list I've been talking about to you that I don't know if you want to name it, but I don't know anything about it. I've just driven by it, saw it, looks like a really cool concept. I'm anxious to try it.
Well, I heard about it too, and you can say their name. What is it?
Baines.
Yeah, Baines Barbecue
and Bakery.
And they're Texas inspired, and they're here in Memphis. And I've read about them, heard a lot of good things about them.
I'm intrigued because of bakery. I don't like to cook. Not claiming to like to cook. I have won many dessert contests along the way. I don't have as much time as I used to, but I used to bake a lot, do a lot of baking. So I'm intrigued by the bakery part of it, I guess. I mean, I'm intrigued by the meat, of course.
I think they make their own rolls and buns and all that stuff there too as well. But
it looked really cool from the outside. Like I said, I just drove by it. I've never been inside, but
we definitely need to go there.
It looked neat.
Definitely need to go there. And there's a couple old school places.
I didn't hear you say your restaurant outside of Texas. Do
you know,
have
outside
one?
of Texas, honestly, I mean, Travis's was killer. I mean, it's closed down now, but David Stedeman's place, A Fine
I never
Swine,
got to go there with you, but I did hear you say it was
the
really good.
Absolute hardcore best competition style restaurants. But I'm going to tell you, I've been to Memphis Barbecue Company a couple times during lunch, and
that's true. It's good.
Melissa would say, "Get the ribs," you know.
We went to
and the ribs were absolutely money. But I can tell you, chain barbecue though, pulled pork. You've heard me say this a dozen times. Sonny's, Gainesville, Florida, was the best pulled pork that I think I've ever had at a restaurant. We
went to a restaurant, and it may be my fault here because I don't remember the name, and that doesn't mean anything. But when we were at the Royal that year, we went to a barbecue restaurant.
Slaps.
Was that what it was?
Slaps
it was good as well.
Slaps was Joe Pierce and his brother run a great place, and Slaps was phenomenal. Hope we get to head back out that way this year and go by there. Q39 is great out there.
I haven't gotten to go there yet either, but I know you said it was good.
But another one of my favorites, believe it or not, and this is going to be in my top 3 dishes, would be the brisket nachos at Martin's Barbecue in Nashville. Pat Martin, or his redneck taco, which is a cornbread hoe cake, which is a cornbread pancake basically, pulled pork, coleslaw, and his vinegar sauce. And I will tell you that he does an amazing job with it.
It's been a while since we've been there.
And probably another place a lot of people's not going to realize is a place called Q49 in Jonesboro, which is Skip Steele, which used to be part of the restaurant group up in St. Louis, Pappy's and all that. And he has that, and I can tell you his cranberry jalapeno glazed chicken wings are phenomenal. That and his pastrami and brisket Reubens.
Yeah, his Reubens and his other types of sandwiches that he has, and of course you got tea in the kitchen, so you can't go wrong there.
I know. Gotta
My
love
favorite.
tea.
Gotta go see him every time we're there. But
Good
there's
old
also
Terrence.
he also has another restaurant. It's not barbecue, but he has that Italian restaurant that we've been to that's also in Jonesboro, and it's also very good.
It is very good.
If you're looking for Italian.
Wood-fired pizza and all.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
And dessert. What was that?
Tiramisu?
Was it tiramisu?
It was.
I don't remember.
His cannolis were really good too. I really don't look like I need another dessert, but I would try one. I can. Be very good. Other than that, that's what Shootin the Que is going to be all about. It's going to be about having fun. It's going to be talking food, restaurants, business, friends, and just plain old barbecue. And I hope that everybody's going to join in and listen. We're going to have some interesting guests coming up. We've got Henry Evans coming up with the Memphis Barbecue Network, going to tell the history of it and how they broke away from Memphis in May to get started and kind of where they are today. And I know a lot of people had a lot of questions about that. And we've got some other local barbecue teams coming on, a couple of them, and we've got some coming to town, coming up for some events around Memphis, and we're going to record some shows with some people, and I hope that everybody likes some of the guests that we're going to interview and everything turns out good. So until next time, I hope y'all keep your beverages cold and your grills hot. We'll see you next time, Shootin the Que.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin the Que Podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Que.